Welcome to the Curiosity and Connection podcast. I'm your host, Nala. Today's guest is Arish. We've known each other not long.
Yeah.
I think one of the beauty of this community is our local park and just seeing different faces and connecting through there. And today's curiosity subject is in honor of the 2026 World Cup, FIFA World Cup, which is hosted in the triad countries of North America, Canada, US, and Mexico.
Yeah.
Toronto is one of the host cities. And today's curiosity is we're going to explore football slash soccer, but from Tanzanian perspective, it would be football. FIFA, growing up in Tanzania, football part of the culture.
Yeah, it was a huge part of the culture. Like everybody, like you're driving down the streets or like even just going to school, like all the kids just want to play football because it's one of the most cheapest and easiest sports to play. You just need a soccer ball and that's it. You don't need goalposts. You just go play anywhere and you make up your own rules.
Yeah.
Like it's, I account the person who I am today is because of football.
So how young were you when you started and how did you segue into it?
I would say 4 or 5.
Mhm.
So my parents like ran like the football club in our community at the Jamaat Khana. They had a Jamaat Khana team and they'd go travel and play and just because we lived right across the community space. Jamaat Khana is the place of prayer for
Mhm.
Ismaili Muslims. It's like a mosque, but we
Yeah.
call it the Jamaat Khana.
Yeah.
And today they're called Ismaili centers.
Mm.
So yeah, we lived right across and my dad and my uncle were like the team captains, managers of our community team. And so
And they played
they played, yes,
again.
they played. So just we would, from being 4 or 5, would bring the soccer balls and just watch them play. And they would, let us play a few minutes here and there. And just the older we got to play like with the adults. And it was just more training every day from like Monday to Thursday. It was like 5:30 to 6:30 playing every
And was
day.
it inclusive? Like, was it like including like boys and girls, or was it just
Unfortunately, just the
boys?
boys. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The girls, they would play a sport called throwball
Okay.
after prayers in the evenings. So just like volleyball, but you're just throwing the ball over the net and catching.
Mm.
So at that point in time, I know now going back, we do see girls football. I know I've been in Canada 18
Yeah,
years,
it's
so I call it
evolved.
soccer,
Yeah.
but I used to call it football a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
It's okay because I
yeah,
remember talking to Joe and even my Scandinavian friend. And Joe's like, I appreciate that you call it football. I said, it's really knowing my audience because I know in North America we say soccer, but in Europe and, or parts of Asia, they say football. So I'm mindful of my audience,
no, thank
right?
you. I grew up playing it. It's one I still play today. It's
Mhm.
one of my favorite sports. Like one of my de-stress when I'm just not feeling good. I'm out there in the field, and I just feel good. So I try and play it twice a week. However, I used to watch a lot of football too. Growing up, it was just like in our small community in Mwanza, Tanzania. We were one of the lucky middle class families that could afford a TV and
Yeah.
pay the satellite. So any soccer or football game, everyone would come over and watch at our house. And like
So it sounds like it's a very communal experience,
yeah,
right?
so in 1998 World Cup, so I was 8 years old then, and
Who was
our
playing?
bunch of teams. I just remember like France won the World
Mhm.
Cup, but Brazil, like a lot of Brazil fans, and
Where was
England
it?
was this.
In which?
1998 was in France, I believe.
Okay.
So I just remember the whole community would just show up and we
Yeah.
would barbecue. My mom
Yeah.
would cook food and like everyone would just in our backyard, in
Yeah.
our house. And that's I think what really got me into the FIFA World Cup.
Yeah.
But sorry, I'm going back to my fun fact.
Don't apologize. Yeah.
Moving to Canada in 2008, I got introduced to American football.
Mm.
And now I still play soccer football all the time, but in terms of watching soccer football, I don't watch as much. I just follow my team United, but I watch a lot of American football.
Okay, so let's go back to your team United,
Yeah,
Manchester
yeah.
United. Help me understand why did you choose that specific team and like how did that evolve?
Okay. So my dad was a Chelsea fan, and so
Mhm.
was my uncle.
Mhm.
And then my younger brother's a Chelsea fan. My older brother Zane's a Liverpool fan, and I'm a Manchester United fan. So the English Premier League is a big thing. Everyone in the
Yes.
community
Yeah.
have different teams, and we have banter with each other, and like
But why I know like UK soccer or football is a big deal, but why did you gravitate towards UK as opposed to not other country as your go-to team?
I'm not sure. Like I think it's one of the best leagues to today, I think it's one of the best leagues in the world,
Yeah.
like in terms of quality and the players and like just like in 2016 there was a surprise team that was like not a top, like not even a top 10 team that won the league.
Mhm.
So there's lots of competition. All the other country leagues, you have like a select top three teams that you know are going to win, whereas the
Yes.
English Premier League is very diverse and
Yeah.
different skill set of teams that play.
Okay.
And I think I like a few of my friends and Manchester was just one of the better teams back then. And I would say 98, 99 is when they won. And that's, I just picked based on the community who was Manchester. I don't really remember. My dad's
Mhm.
cousins were all like Manchester United fans. I
Mm.
think that's how I gravitated towards that.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't gravitate towards Chelsea
Yeah.
or Liverpool like my brother. We always talk about this. We're quite young. We don't remember.
I asked Joe the same thing. Like I
Yeah.
asked Joe and even my friend Aryan, who his go-to team is, and he's Swedish by background, and he said, Sweden was once upon a time a really good team, and he's like, they actually just made the World Cup this
Yeah.
year, but he's like, he's happy. He'll always that will be his go-to country. And Joe, he explained, Manchester was just part of the family legacy.
I like yeah.
And then I was sharing how like I the podcast Trevor Noah's What
Yeah.
Now, he had Malcolm Gladwell on and he was describing how he was not a big football fan. He's a gamer by hobby and he said growing up in South Africa, the television was often consumed by football
Yeah.
watchers, which annoyed him. And then when FIFA introduced the FIFA World Game, he took to it and he got interested in a lot of these characters and then he followed Jürgen Klopp, the
Mhm.
German coach.
Yeah.
And when he got recruited to Liverpool, and the Liverpool or the Scouse intro song, Never Walk Alone, he just fell in love. He's like, that's my team, right? Do you know,
Wow.
like, that's why I'm always curious, like, how do you get to, like, to decide that that is your team? And even, like, that you chose Manchester or knowing your dad and your brothers or anyone in the community. And I asked you the same question, like, has anyone ever picked a team and then moved to another team?
No, you can't. You
He said the exact
cannot
same
do
thing.
that. It's
He
like
said it's
blasphemous. No,
binding. It's like
you
an
cannot.
unspoken
Yeah, it's just
rule.
boom, binding. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like the last 10 years have been a very painful 10 years for Manchester United. Like we were like the best team. Like when I was
Yes.
a child, like it was like, the best team, like always winning. And then
Yeah.
these last 10 years as an adult, like 2013, 14 to now, it's been
Mhm.
a rough few years. But I would say that's also the time where I stopped watching as much football and watched more American football. But playing, I never gave that up. It's just something, it's so easy. You just like, you see us in the park, we just grab
Yeah.
up one ball and you can play anywhere.
But, like, let's go back to
Yeah.
Tanzania, and you were saying how, like, when you were playing across from the Ismaili community center, um, it was often your dad and the adults and all the young boys from.
From our, it was strictly our community.
Yeah.
We would play and,
Did you ever play against other.
yeah, so we would do that. Then they would organize tournaments, and then we would travel to like play like local teams, and like we had a coach. So the Tanzanian football league is also very big, and
Mhm.
like there's like two big teams called Simba and Yanga. They're always
Mhm.
competing. I'm not too ingrained in it, but I
Mhm.
know the names, and it's like crowded. So we'd have like sometimes a coach come and who used to be for one of the smaller teams, not Simba or Yanga, come and coach and train us when we had these tournaments. And then the Ismaili community has these like a Easter festival or like different festivals where different cities,
Mhm.
like Mwanza, like my hometown, will host a soccer tournament, or
Mhm.
we'll travel to Arsalam,
Mm.
and that's when we would all like train together.
Yeah.
And the top players, they'll make a team and a B team, and we'd get to go play in these tournaments. And Mwanza was back in the day, like the Mwanza Ismaili
Mhm.
soccer football team was one of the best teams. Same
Mhm.
in volleyball too, traditional volleyball. I remember
Yeah.
those two were really good at. But then also like in school is where I really got into it, and I
That was my next question because, like, I asked Joe this and Arnon this because Arnon, he's from Sweden, and he says now living in Canada, he says specifically in Toronto, we have organized sports at middle school, high school, and onward, but in Sweden, they don't have that. So his exposure, because he grew up in a farm, kind of similar to your story, it was put on by the community. There was only one club, right? And Joe said UK, that's just part of the fabric of life. Like it's in school, it's outside of school, there's clubs, there's different levels.
yeah.
And so what I'm hearing, even with Tanzania, like the school system, did they have organized sports or
So I was fortunate enough. I went to like a British international school.
Mhm.
We did have we would organize like tournaments and stuff, and we would organize it with the local schools as well. We organize matches and go play,
Mhm.
but then we would also organize more like with other schools outside of Tanzania. We'd go to Kenya for like
Okay.
soccer, and mostly it was cricket tournaments we went for, and maybe once we went for a football tournament, but within the school year, it was like we'd have like within school we had like clubs. There was like not clubs, houses. So there was like Mafia, Pemba, Zanzibar, and within your houses you'd have inter-house
Yeah.
tournaments. So that was one aspect of it. But we'd also have like a school team where we would train, and then once a week play another school. Like go, they would come to our home field to play a game. We'd go to another school to play a game.
So help me understand, like, when you were doing the community league versus transitioning to school,
It was simultaneous, so,
it
like,
was
simultaneous.
simultaneous.
Community was every day regardless, like, we just loved it,
Yeah.
and then we would mix it up, so, like, the adults versus the kids, and as we grew older, it was like
But what was the contrast in terms of experience with the community versus, like, the structure of the school? You know what I
so the
mean?
community one was slightly different, so because there was no goalkeepers,
Oh,
we
there
my
wasn't?
dad built, like, these small nets
Mhm.
out of steel, the size of this coffee
Yeah.
table, and 2 on each side, and we would just, like, try and, like it'd be like, how many of our players show up, they stand, we split it 5 by 5,
Mm.
and we just play, and it would be, like, skins, so you like, 5 remove their shirts, so skins versus shirts. So that was quite fun, and no goalkeepers,
Yeah.
unless when it's tournament time, then we start training with the big goalpost and someone becomes our goalkeeper.
Mm.
But on a day-to-day, Monday to Friday, that's all we did was just play there, and it was honestly one of my favorite childhood memories.
Yeah.
Like 5:30 to 6:30, we play for an hour, we rush home, shower, and come back for prayers for 7 p.m.
Yeah.
And
Did your brothers also play at the
oh
same
yeah,
time?
both my brothers,
So
we
it
all play.
sounded like it was a really good, not only community building, bonding, but it allowed you and your brothers and your dad and your uncle, you said, to just kinda grow that
Oh yeah, it was a
bond.
very strong bond, and all three of us still play today. I know my younger brothers moved back, so my older brother and I mean, it's been few months he stopped playing, but we still like when we were all here, would still meet every Saturday mornings or Tuesday nights and just play together. And then after playing in a league here, we just go and have drinks or go for
Do you
wings.
guys like in terms of skill level between the 3 of you, is there one more skilled than the other? And do you guys like
I think yeah, all three of us are very good. My younger brother and I just took it a little bit to the next level.
Mm,
My older brother is still very good, but I think his interests were more music and
he's got other
other
yeah.
more but he's still like when he's on the field, he's a great player.
Mhm.
But my younger brother and I just went a little bit like elite and um, really strive for it. Because after I left Tanzania, I went to Kenya for high school for 2 years,
Okay.
and over there, football was again like a huge thing. So I played for the school team, but also the Aga Khan again, the Ismaili community club team. And this was very more organized. We'd have like training Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, and then every Sunday we'd go play. And Nairobi is a much bigger city than Mwanza. There's a lot more organized teams. So, and then also like my high school in Kenya is like on a next level compared to Tanzania. There's lots of high schools, lots of
Yeah.
tournaments.
And how did that feel? Like, you're going from Tanzanian culture to Nairobi, Kenyan culture, and is it still, like, English British school?
Yeah, so
In
Kenya is very different to Tanzania in the fact that majority of the population speaks English.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think the British left a little later in 1963, whereas in Tanzania they left in 1957 or 61, I'm not sure. And so like Kenya, like most people speak English. In Tanzania, it's Swahili majority, less English. And in terms of the culture, it is very similar. But I would say Nairobi is one of the biggest cities in Africa, like a
Similar in what
financial hub,
sense?
like a financial hub. You know, a lot of NGOs there. It's like more modern compared to other cities. Like it's like a South Africa, Cape Town, or like Nigeria one or Egypt, one of the more
But
developed.
how did you navigate, like, experience going from Tanzania to Kenya, in terms of just cultural difference? Um, or even, like, um yeah, just, like, different ethnicity, and how did you navigate that? Was that your first experience, or was that
No, so I'd been to Kenya a few times before. We had family, friends, and then like our Ismaili community is very like tight knit, very strong. So we had a good base there.
yeah, so it's
Yeah.
universal no matter where you
Universal,
go.
yeah, yeah. And then also like home was technically 8 hour drive, but I would every 6 weeks just hop on a bus. It was like a 12-hour bus ride, and I would just hop on a bus
Mm,
and go back home
mhm.
to Mwanza. It's uncomfortable, but you just miss home.
Yes.
And so getting to be close to home and getting to go was nice, but also I was quite young. I was 16 and I lived as a paying guest at a family friend.
Yeah.
So, I got to be an adult earlier than like
Mm,
18. So that was a little bit tough in the beginning,
yeah.
just being more responsible. And but then just the community, just like, football again was like
Universal language.
universal language, just made helped me grow up and, focus. I'd go play and
Mm.
focus on my school, and it was great.
And how do you navigate, like, with you and your brother and your dad? Like, did you guys ever, make fun of each other for your different, uh, love for the certain different
All
teams?
the time, all the time. So, like, my older brother, same Liverpool, was, like, growing up, would never do well, and it was just so much banter going
Yeah.
back and forth, like, "Oh, you guys suck," like, "How did you guys not
Yeah.
pass?" Blah, that, and then these last 10 years, Liverpool has done exceptionally well, and it was like but he's not like me, like a shit disturber. He's, like, very polite, kind, and he
Yeah.
just kept his happiness to himself, so that was
Mhm.
nice.
Is he
Uh,
a big Mo Salah fan?
yeah, yeah, he's a big Mo Salah
He's
fan.
retiring this
Yeah,
year.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, they've had a good run, and he watches a lot more football than I do.
Mm.
'Cause I don't know, I just love the American football game. Just I got introduced to fantasy football, and I just stopped watching as much. I'll turn on a United game, but before I used to watch all the games.
I think part of it too is where you are at too, right? Like,
Yeah,
you're allowed to explore outside of what it'll still be a part of you, because kinda Joe said the same thing too. He's like, football was a part of the fabric of life, but now that he's here, he said that he likes the diversity of the different sports,
yeah.
and so being exposed to it, and being removed from the UK in that regard, it's allowed him to kinda, like, explore these different sports, and kinda like you, right? Like, why did you take to American football? We'll get back to that in a
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
But, going back to, Kenya, like, when you were playing there, what the Ismaili aspect of the community, that sounds like, such a loving, embracing community, but when you were navigating high school, especially like you said, like, being homesick, what was it about, being in these high school football club or even playing outside that, allowed you to connect to yourself or even the community?
I think for me, it's just that training from when I was 3, 4, like, watching them play, then 5, 6 starting to play, and just there's that thing you read, if you do something for 10,000 hours, you become an expert or
Mhm.
something like that. So I think for me, fortunately, I was one of the stronger players, and like coming like being new to a school and new to the community, going for the tryouts, and being nervous, will they choose me? Like, they choose, and then you get picked and you're like, oh wow, like,
Do you ever feel pressure to perform well?
I don't feel the pressure because it's something I really love, and I
Yeah.
just go out and just do my thing. And
Yeah.
but then you feel like you wanna get chosen, and I was nervous, okay, maybe because, like, they'll pick their favorites or their friends, and I got picked to play on the main team, and just that practice from my child allowed me to be better at the sport than other folks and
Mhm.
getting picked, and that sense of accomplishment, and then, okay, like, I got chosen, I love this sport, and then I don't know, when I'm out there, I even tell my therapist, she's like, "What do you need?" And I'm like, "I just wanna go play and
Yeah.
play football," and, you give it your all, and it's just great, like,
Yeah.
that sense of feeling when we played, and I felt so happy after. Like, even if you lose a game, but you tried your best, and you're like, "Okay, back to the training ground,
Yeah.
to the next game," I think that helped me a lot,
Yeah.
like being there.
But it's the same thing. Joe said that, like, that's one of the things he loves about the sport is when he's on the field, like, he's in the flow,
Yeah.
right? And it sounds like you're describing something similar. And I said, from a therapeutic lens, especially like from trauma therapy, my therapist had explained from EMDR. She says, when you live in your brain a lot, which is very
Yeah.
most of us do in the Western culture, being in your body is very hard, and the only time you actually really do that is when you're doing physical movement. And so physical movement, whether it's running, walking, playing sports, it allows you to kinda turn off that brain side
Yeah.
and just kind of be in your body, and so I think that feeling and and it's kinda like playing soccer or it's a type of dopamine, right?
Yes.
It's a
Sure.
dopamine rush.
Yeah, yeah.
And because, like you said, because you started when you were younger, you were good at it, so it's just reaffirming that, like, I feel really good at this,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But you said, like, it was nice to be chosen, but when you observed other players who weren't as skilled and they didn't get chosen, like, did that how did you like,
So when I
knowing
was younger, you're just selfish. When you're younger, you're just excited to be
Yeah.
chosen, and but like, and also when you're younger, you want to do all the skills and score the goals. But like the older you grow, you really start to appreciate the game, and it's like it's a team sport. It's not an
Yes,
individual sport. And
yes.
like out here in the park, Joe and I, when we're playing with the kids, I get it where they come from. They want to shine and do the tricks, and
Yeah.
we were young once, and we loved doing that. But as I grew older and you start appreciating the game, you play the more serious tournaments. You're like, this is a team game.
Mhm.
Let's come together, come
Yes.
strategy, how we're gonna pass the ball, like pass, move, pass, move. It's if your teammate scores, that's great. Cheer your teammate, not
Mm.
you have to score.
Yeah.
So like just growing up and really appreciating the game, and you're like, wow, like it's no longer an individual. Yeah, it's cool to
Mm.
do tricks or score a fancy goal, but like allowing working with your team to get the goal feels so much better.
It sounds like you're very supportive of, like, your teammates, but did you ever, like, pep talk with, like, the ones that you observed who were just feeling deflated about the situation, or was it just, like was it spread amongst the teammates that did that, or you observed
No,
that?
no. So like in Tanzania, before I moved to Kenya, like I was the team captain, and fortunately, like the 4 or 5 years of middle school, just before high school, I was always the team captain. So
Mm,
I got that leadership experience, just working with my team manager, and like we would talk and how do we encourage everyone on the team. It's okay, like positive encouragement. So
yeah.
that really helped me, and it was both for football and cricket that I was selected, and then that helped. And when I moved to Kenya, because I was new, there was another team captain for the club team,
Mhm.
and for the school team, the first year I wasn't, but the second year I got to be selected as a team captain, and just
And how does that make you feel when you're chosen to be
so when I was younger, I was like so happy and like it felt like, oh, I'm cool and whatever. But like once I was in Kenya, I was like, there's a big responsibility that
Mhm.
comes with it. It's like, you gotta make sure, um, yes, you win, but everyone on the team is happy, and everyone, um,
So how did you navigate that pressure? How did you, like did you have the support to unpack that, or did you feel like because you're the captain, you had to take it all upon yourself?
no, no, the support is there. The support is there for sure from like the team manager, and like you're also friends with the guys, the 11 guys on your team. You're all like, because you're together all the time doing something you love, you all
But
become
that I think
friends.
that's one of the thing with team sports too, it's
Yeah.
how do you navigate, holding space for different personalities? Because everybody has a different skill set and different personality, and to be and yes, you were modeled that by your dad and uncle in the Somali community, but transitioning to being a captain in the Kenyan environment, feeling that pressure, and just recognizing the diverse skills and personality, how did you make that come together and work? Because it's a skill set to be a captain, you know what I mean?
Yeah, agreed. Like I still something that always comes up, and I message my friends group chat, is we were in this final at a school called Roslyn tournament. It's a big soccer tournament, and the school I was at was the Alcan Academy. And there's penalty shootouts, like it's the semifinal or the final, and one of my good friends on the team missed a penalty and we got knocked out. And some folks, like I was really sad. Like at the moment I was like, why, Eric, why did you miss? I was so angry, like because I was just really wanted to. It was like a big tournament. I really wanted to. I was so angry. I kept it to myself. And like some of the other players like went and like, man, Eric, what the hell? But then you have to like turn that switch on. It's like, no, we all played together as a team to get here. He missed the penalty. Let's go give him a hug and say, dude, we tried our best. That initial switch, like you're angry and sad because you really want to win, and then you're like you didn't win. But then okay, Eric missed, like, let's go support him. It's okay. It's
Yeah.
like, it's just that switch. You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
That's do you think that that's something that was always innately there, or is it unique to you, or do you think that's evolved more as you've matured?
I think evolve more as you mature, because, or maybe it was there. I don't know. Like, I think a younger
Like,
version of me would have
yeah.
just walked away. You know, like, I don't know.
Because, like, and we've talked about this as a
Yeah,
middle child, right? I think it's every there's that, like, generalization, this is what a middle child is, an older child is, and a younger
yeah.
child is, and did you find that being a middle child, you were, a peacekeeper in your family dynamic? Or what did you think your role was mostly, in contrast to your oldest and youngest?
So my older brother and I were very close.
Year separation
Yeah,
was
2 years separate, and then my younger brother, 3 years younger than me,
mhm.
and we picked on him a lot. Like, "Oh, get us this," like, do all these chores for us. Um, but like, I think my older brother was to himself, like, calm. He loved his music, do that, and I was like the more loud, outgoing one. So I would get in trouble a lot.
So you're not the peacekeeper.
So no, but then I think as we've grown up, like, all three of us have learned to be the peacekeepers.
Why? Or how did that come about? Within the family dynamic, amongst each other, or just in general in the community, or something you observe with each other?
I think within the family dynamic and like the responsibility, like, yeah, my family is fortunate they were able to send us to school here, but
Mhm,
they spent all their money putting us through school, and now there's like the three boys here, and it's like
mhm,
a responsibility. Like, they work really hard to put us through school in Canada,
mhm.
like international tuition, and it's just like, that sense of responsibility. Like, I'm really proud of my younger brother. He's moved back to Tanzania. He had a great time in Canada, but he moved back to, you know go start a business, and like, now create a structure for my parents. They're like 65, 67.
Same as mine.
Yeah, so he's like, he wants, because they didn't really save. They were just, brought it so that we could have a good future. But now that the three of us are established, that responsibility is
So
like
he feels more obligated to
more
be
obligated, be
the
there and
caregiver for them?
caregiver. And I wish I could do that too. And like, I'm here. I'm trying to, like, Nafisa and I trying to grow like our future together, and
Mhm.
hopefully in the near future I can, help support in some
Yeah.
way or other.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't have
Yeah,
to be grand. I mean, I think
yeah,
we discount the small wins, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because sometimes some of the small wins are just as significant as the big wins.
yeah.
And I think that that comes from, like, speaking sports because, like you, I was a captain, like, in middle school, right? And even later when I played dodgeball, I was captaining. And I think just being exposed in the sports world, I don't know, you recognize different personality
Yeah.
and, like, you're like, "Yes, you're really good, but your attitude sucks really bad, and you don't pass the ball even though the coach tells you to," you know?
Yes, yes,
And there's
yes.
just, like you said, like, where you are at that age, like, there's this ego inflation.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it's more of, like, being a middle child, but more as because of my dysfunctional family dynamic, keeping the peace was a way to stay safe, and I think that has translated over into sports for me.
Mhm.
But, going back to, that final game with your friend Eric missing, and after everybody came together, rallied to provide support for him, how did you feel?
I'm just trying to call back, like, yeah, it was like we were all really sad, but then we went and gave him a hug, and now we, like, every time, because it's like, I'm like, we've all gone around the world. A few of them have stayed back in Nairobi, Kenya, and gone back. Like, a bunch of us left, but like every 2 3 years when I go back, we'll like try and meet, and then it's like a big talking point. Eric, you screwed us over, and
Yeah,
it's like
you can laugh
so much
about it,
laughter. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
So much
nice
laughter.
though.
It's nice. Something like I wanted to touch that we didn't touch was like the in Tanzania, like football is like a big sport, and unfortunately, I think majority of the population, I would say, lives under $100 a day. I know the middle class is growing, but a lot of people are unfortunate. And when we're driving to safari or driving to school or coming back from school, a lot of people don't have cars, don't have
Yes.
water in their homes. But just like you look out the window or if I'm walking and you just see the kids barefoot just I have a soccer ball downstairs
Yeah, I
that's made of
remember.
straw.
Yeah.
They're just playing and it's just they have
Yeah,
big
a
smiles on their
makeshift,
face,
yeah.
makeshift soccer ball, and they don't have anything.
Yeah.
And just you see them playing and just they're so happy and brings a smile to their face. So I just thought of that and I thought I'd share that and
But I like that. I think that's the same thing when I went back for the first time and I didn't understand 'cause I was born there, but I left when I was 3, so my knowledge of Vietnam is basically through my parents' oratory
yeah,
stories, right? And, there was a lot of resentment, and I kind of ran away from that culture because of, like, what it became the crux of my parents' fights throughout my life,
mm,
and there was a lot of resentment until I got there and I saw the poverty and I realized why my parents felt obligated. There's a sense of guilt to provide financially, even though we were struggling, right? But at the same time, I also witnessed like the simplicity, even though they didn't have anything, they were just genuinely
happy.
happy.
Yeah,
And I think that comes with like ignorance is bliss, right? You know what I mean? Like if you don't know any better, that is your world. You're gonna make the best of it, right?
yeah.
Whereas like you come here, back here, and then you realize, oh wow, we have all this privilege, but there's so much misery you're seeing, and
No, like I have the best coffee. I have so many good things and like I don't know if it's a society or something here that moves you towards, oh, I wish I had a bigger house. Oh, I wish I had that car.
capitalism.
Yeah, you just gotta take 2 steps back and look like where you came from and
But
like
see,
I
we
would never
have that.
imagine that I would be where I am and
We have that benchmark, right? Whereas a lot of people don't have that benchmark because human beings are by nature, um, we live by contrast. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
how can you appreciate what is good until you've experienced bad? It's that contrast. Like, how can you appreciate like the simplicity of watching, kids in Tanzania living below poverty, just playing contently with a makeshift soccer ball? Whereas here, like, the best of the league and they're just miserable, right?
yeah,
So it's I think that reminder helps keep you humble and grounded in that regard.
yeah.
What are some of the highs and lows that you experienced um, playing football as you've evolved, and whether it's in the club itself or
Lots of highs, just winning lots in like middle school. We went through like a couple of seasons where we didn't lose any games. So it's like proud moments, lots of
yeah.
highs and having my dad come watch a few games, that's like, it was really made like great childhood um for that and just being selected to play for like the community team at
Mhm.
the tournaments. But then sometimes as we grew older, like I remember in 2015, I was here, but we went back and there was like a Easter soccer tournament that Mwanza hosted for the Ismaili community. And we just made a makeshift team, like just there. But we didn't practice,
Yeah.
just there. And we got destroyed. And it was expected, but then part of you was like, man, I wish we did a little bit better. And
Yeah.
so that was like, it wasn't really a low, but it was like, man, like we shouldn't have got this right. But it in common, like those other teams were practicing and
Yeah.
preparing for it, whereas we just makeshift team. Someone was in London, someone was in Canada, a few in Mwanza.
Yeah.
We just all like were born in Mwanza, just
Yeah.
really made just to be participate in the tournament. And you get excited. And then it's just like one of my lows is I wish like one of my dreams was I would become a professional.
That was the next question. So when you're playing like sports in Tanzania, like especially football,
Yeah.
and you're watching these professionals on the television with your dad and brother, and you guys are saying jokingly to each other, like, "Yeah, that's my goal," you know?
So yeah, that was a big dream. Like I didn't like feel my a lot of my friends would like smoke and drink in high school. Like I just none of that. I was like very like I want to be a
Mhm.
professional and it's like my dream to do this and I would, train hard. But then it's like I think something that opened my eyes was in especially in my community in Mwanza, like it was a very small community. Like in my school, we're like 20 of us, so it's like easy to be the best in a small population size. In Nairobi, I wasn't the best, I was slightly better. And then coming to Canada, trying out for the University of Waterloo varsity team, it just really opened my eyes, and I was like, wow, it's like it's a different game, different ballpark. There's like hundreds and thousands of like population
Players,
size that
yeah.
you're committing, and they're way more committed, and like the amount of like just physical stamina you need is like the first few days of the trials were just running, running, running. There's no football. You're not touching the football. You're just testing the players. And I wish, like, so I look back and I was like, I wish I had like a coach that really pushed that physical part of it. Like I was good. I used to run a lot, but like coming here and
So that was not ever part of
expecting
like,
it was part of it, but not to the extent that I did see it when I came for varsity. I didn't get selected for the varsity in Waterloo, but we did play soccer, intramural soccer, and we there was like tournaments, and we beat the varsity team. It was like a 3-on-3 or 5-on-5.
Mhm.
It's a game change where like now I'm strictly like I love playing like 5-on-5 or 7-on-7, the smaller fields.
And so help me understand. So what's the different terms of like um UK football, Tanzania, Kenya, and coming to Water Canada, like in terms of rules? Like,
So universal football is like 11 on 11, one goalie. You're playing on this massive, massive field,
mhm,
and that's like universal. But then sometimes because fields are smaller, they like will makeshift and make the same rules apply, but it's a smaller field.
mhm.
So you won't have 11v11. You'll have like 7v7. Some of these tournaments I played it in Kenya and Nairobi, the school tournaments, it wasn't 11v11. We would have a 7v7
Okay.
because the fields are a little
That's
smaller.
fine.
And when I moved to Waterloo, excuse me, we did play outdoors 11v11, but then we started playing more indoors. You know, the weather here, you
Yeah.
can't play outdoors throughout the year. And I gravitated towards like indoor, not only not playing on the turf grass indoor, but on like the volleyball,
AstroTurf, yeah.
not even AstroTurf, just like the basketball court, like
Oh,
the
wow, yeah.
like proper like futsal football. And I
Mhm.
just fell in love with that game, just
Yeah.
playing indoors. And so like I stopped playing the 11v11, and you need a lot more stamina to play the 11, and the older you get.
But even like flag football, like that, you need stamina. Like I play flag football for once, and it's a lot of like I only play for like the one game, but it's still stamina, right?
Yeah. So the rules are the same, it's just the less players, so
And the size of the pitch,
size
yeah.
of the pitch shrinks. And so now when I play, like I strictly play 6-on-6 or 7v7. I
And
don't do
and how did
11v11
you
anymore.
feel like for the first time? I said like going from Tanzania to Kenya, where you made it to all the clubs and the team to come to Waterloo to try out and not make it. Like how did you navigate not making it for the first time? Yes, you still play intramural, but this was like it's still a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was definitely a big deal, but it was like I'm just trying to remember how I felt. I was like, I think after day 2 of the training, me and my friend went, like, there's no way I'm going to day 3. Like my body
Mm.
just doesn't allow me to
Did your
do it.
friend make it?
No, both of us didn't make it, and I was like, "Wow." Like, it was we didn't even touch. I was like, "They should let us show them our skills, like, playing with the ball," but it was all just physical running and running. And on the day 3, I was like, "Oh, wow." Like, I wanted to go, but I just my body didn't let me. I was like, "Nope, I can't do this. I can't do this." And I was like, "It's okay. Like, I'm here for school."
Yeah, you accepted it.
Accepted it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
That's
then you made an
interesting.
intramural soccer team, and
How did
still
you
still
how did your friend navigate that not making it?
So he also like we just met at university, but he moved here when he was a lot younger, when he was 14. So
Where was he from?
he's from Kenya,
Mm.
and we just met at
Yeah.
university. And I'm trying to remember.
Was he this similar to you in the sense like in Kenya he was in all the clubs and
He's really good. He's one of like a very strong player that I play with as well. We still play together till today. He's moved to Ottawa, but I think he's moving back to Toronto soon. So excited to play with him again.
Mm.
And yeah, similar to me, but he was younger when he moved here, and we didn't really talk about like how he played in high school. I just knew
Mm.
he's a great player. Just gives it his all. And yeah, both of us we just looked at each other. We shared a house, like a apartment in
Mm.
Waterloo. And like, are we going? And we are both like, we just knew you could see each other. Yeah, we're not going for the training the next day. Yeah, yeah.
So at what point did you realize you're like going back to you're saying how watching UK football, this desire to want to be professional. Did your brothers both have that same dream?
I think my younger brother did. Not my older
Yeah.
brother. I think my younger brother did too.
And then at what point you like say, I want to follow that path? And then when did you get to that realization like this is not my reality?
I think when you look at like the clubs now, there's already kids there who are 12, 13 playing in the clubs, and those guys like go through the club
Mhm.
academies in the UK.
Mhm.
So like I feel like that dream just died while we were in Mwanza because you weren't picked. And then
Mm.
there's a lot of like the local teams in Tanzania, that pick, and we didn't even get chosen for those teams. So how on
Mm,
earth am I gonna get chosen
yes,
for
the reality
the
kicked in early,
reality
yeah.
kicked in early? But there's still that hope, a little bit of hope that maybe they don't know see me, but someone else will. Right? So it's like there's always that hope.
That's
Yeah.
funny. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go back to, Manchester.
Yeah.
What was it about Manchester that you like? Because I know Joe said he really liked Roy Keane. Were you a big Roy Keane fan?
I was a big Ryan Giggs fan. I was a big Roy Keane fan, just like hard, like really
Why? What
strong
what was
player.
it about Roy Keane that what drew you to him?
Just the aggression and like the willingness, and like football back then, and you look at it now, is like very different. Like it's become a lot less like rough. It's safety for players, mostly for the safety of players, but it just like was exciting to see his energy and drive. Like he wants to win every ball as a great player. But like I was driven to Ryan Giggs. I'm right footed, he was left footed, but just the way he moved with the ball and did the crosses, and I think he was a great player. And it's just like I was like everyone loved David Beckham on the team. And I was like,
Yes.
no, I like Ryan Giggs. And then when I was younger, like there was like a couple of midfielders. There's like
Yeah.
Frank Lampard, not in United, and Steven Gerrard and Paul Scholes. Like I would watch them, but I wouldn't pick them as my friends because they weren't everyone else's favorites when we were younger.
Mhm.
They pick the famous players. I would like be geared towards that. But now when I'm older and I you watch old games and like wow, like these players, they didn't get the recognition and
Mm.
they were just brilliant players. Like Paul
Mm.
Scholes, a
Yeah.
United player, was just a brilliant player.
So you appreciate also different teams players.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes. When you're watching, you're like, wow, like Thierry Henry on Arsenal,
Yeah.
one of my biggest rivals, my best friend supports them, and till today there's still this banter going back. But he was another great player.
Did you ever get to go experience a Manchester United game live?
So once I moved to Canada in 2008, I was very fortunate because they would come for tours. So I've been to several games
Oh, they
now.
did.
Yeah. So I went to Washington for a game, I think Detroit for a game, and then they played at the Rogers Center.
Yes, because Joe was saying that when Beckham was at the Rogers
Yeah,
Center,
so
yeah.
Beckham for LA, the MLS league,
Mhm.
but like Manchester came and played Celtic in the Rogers Center in 2011 or 2012. So I got to watch that. And then in 2018, our family friends in Tanzania, they live in UK, one of my best friends, we just went for like a boys trip, five of us from Toronto, my close friends Toronto, to London just for a weekend. And then one of my childhood friends who's in Mwanza right now, he went to school in the UK, and his friend had season tickets, and he gave us 4 season tickets to go watch Chelsea, my younger brother's team, play Manchester United in the FA Cup. I think it was a semi-final
Yeah.
game, and it was just like a dream come true.
Yeah,
Like watch a game in the UK. It was
yeah.
at the Chelsea Stamford Bridge
It's
field in
different
London.
though, yeah.
But it was
It's a
2018. It was just
different
amazing
vibe.
experience. Like you couldn't cheer because we were in the Chelsea stands. So we United won. Like you like secretly cheering. We're in the Chelsea stand. It's just watching it there in a real English Premier League
Yeah.
field is different than watching it at Rogers or Detroit, like a friendly.
Yeah.
And then even like last 2 years ago in 2022, we went to New York City to watch Arsenal play United at the MetLife Stadium, and that's where the World Cup final is going to be. So
Okay.
we flew down to New York and then drove back because our flights got canceled. Whole spiel, but
Are
yeah,
you
it's
are you a big like have you ever sought out like any of them for autographs or no? You're
mm,
not
not really, but like when Manchester City came, like a rival team, they came to Toronto to play. One of Nafisa's cousins has his way into like this like where the buses come in. Like he knows it in because he's a season ticket holder. So I remember we'd gone and we stood outside and we got a bunch of player signatures. And then in 2011, when I went to Washington, there was this huge grace because Ryan Giggs was there and like all these players were there. And so me and three friends from Toronto drove to Washington, D.C., go to a hotel, and now we watched the game, or it was the day before the game. I just don't remember. So what we got these bikes. You
Yeah.
can get like the Big C bikes,
Yeah.
and we went to like 6 or 7 different hotels to find out where they're staying.
You guys are big like
So finally, one of
a
the
soccer group.
yeah, one of the hotel staff is like, go to this Mandarin Oriental. I don't know, that's the name of the hotel. He's like, that's where they are. So we rode to the hotel, parked our bikes, and then they were there because you see the bus, and we're like, let's pretend to be like guests.
Casual.
Yeah, casual guests. Like we don't want to chase. So we sat in the lounge, and we ordered some drinks and
You
coffee,
couldn't be the
whatever.
only people there. There were probably
There
other
were other
fans.
people there,
Yeah.
but we were there like no jersey. We're just sitting there.
You didn't
No,
sense
no,
there were other fans there that
no,
were
no, no. It
same
was like
attention as you guys?
I there was people lined up outside trying to get autographs and like waiting. There was great, but we went
Yeah.
as guests, and it
Yeah.
was great. We go in, we order, we sit, and then you see like the players come to the lounge, and I see like I'm here, and Ryan Giggs is like 6, 7 feet away from me, and these players, and we were like, okay, we were like talking, just play calm, you know, the night will go on, things will happen. And oh my God, one of my friend Sean's brother, he just jumps up and runs to Ryan Giggs, and then we got kicked out. I was like,
As a
yeah,
kid?
yeah, we got kicked out. I was
Oh
like,
my
he goes,
god.
and he's like, I couldn't. He was right there. I had to go.
He had no self-control.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
So
lucky he didn't get a restraining order.
yeah, so we all got kicked out.
Yeah.
But yeah,
At
like
least
I feel like if we stayed and we just sat there
casually, yeah.
casually, like as the night goes along, you're getting drinks and you know, like you're part of, and they would come. I think something would happen. Who knows? But
Yeah.
so that was one experience, and a second experience in 2016, I went to London for a wedding, Nafisa's
Mm.
cousin's wedding, and the reception where the wedding was, Manchester United were staying there. So I
Mm.
was at another my cousin's wedding, and then I was rushing. So like Nafisa and her brother called me, you gotta come fast because we all the players are just here. So I left my family wedding. I was gonna come to this wedding late anyway, but I rushed here. And by the time I came, the players had gone off, and we went to the reception. And at the reception, I'm telling Nafisa's brother, let's go to this lounge where the players are, whatever. Like they'll come. So we left the reception. We go to the lounge where like you know some players will come, and there was like some staff. We could see some coaches in that lounge, and we sit down, and like the cheapest thing is like 50 pounds.
Oh my god.
So I'm like, you know what? We're just ordering.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money, 50 pounds. We order it. And he's like, what are you doing? Nafisa's was like, what are you doing? I was like, no, like, if we order something here, they won't kick us out, they'll come. So I ordered this, I don't know, some cheese plate for 50, whatever it was. I had no interest in what it
Yeah.
was. And then we sat and we waited. But a couple of coaches came on the team,
Yeah.
like, not like the manager, but
Yeah.
assistant manager. It was Jose Mourinho at the time.
Mm.
And he still makes fun of me. He's like, how is that 50 pounds? And then we just left it and left because we
So
stayed.
they didn't pass through?
The coaches were there, but none of the players. I
Mm.
think they were already in bed or doing their own thing by then.
Mhm.
But yeah, so he always makes fun of me that, oh, how is that 50 pounds that we wasted?
But I think those moments are like they're good like stories to kind of look back and laugh
Yeah, yeah,
back
yeah,
on.
yeah.
And does Nafisa share your love for football?
No, but she used to love come watching. She would come watch me play, and like the Ismaili community in Toronto, we have this big soccer football tournament called the Gold Cup. So it still happens today, and like someone messaged me, "Hey, do you want to play?" And all these teams are great, like really good players, and like
Mm.
they do really well. I've never won the Gold Cup, but I've participated with different teams
Yeah.
through the years. And she would come and support
Yeah,
us,
support. Yeah.
support and watch, and it was nice to have her in the stands
Yeah.
and watch and support. But in terms of watching sports, we watch the Raptors together, and then I'm sure like once the FIFA World Cup's in, like
Is she a big basketball or is she just supportive of you
so
and
with
just
Toronto sports,
Mhm.
she loves Toronto sports, like just supporting the Toronto teams.
Mm.
And I think she's like into F1 and those kind of sports. I think in the World Cup, obviously Canada is number one. I really hope we do well,
Mm.
and I think it'll be fun to watch in the city. But
Yeah.
the team, I don't know how. Again, I was always like in '98 World Cup, I was a Brazil fan, but then I was like, everyone's Brazil. I'm gonna pick my own team.
Yeah.
Then I picked Italy, so Italy became my team,
Yeah.
and then
So you don't stick to like because Joe said I asked him like I guess we'll get to this question now.
yeah,
I said, who do you think's gonna win the World Cup? Who would you like to win? Who do you think's gonna win in the Canada pool?
I think my heart says Canada's gonna win
Okay.
the Canada pool.
Okay.
I'm hoping Canada or England. Those are the two teams I'm
Mhm.
supporting. And then I'm a big fan of any of the African teams.
Mhm.
And one of the big underdogs, I think, is the DR Congo.
Mhm.
And this is the first time they've ever been in the World Cup.
Okay.
And so there's 10 African teams this year. So any other 10, if they make it past, like 3 World Cups ago, Ghana was in the quarterfinals. And then it was this huge controversial thing where Suarez, who's like this famous Uruguayan player, handled the ball at the line. They got a penalty. If they scored the penalty, they would have gone through to the semifinals. And it was like the furthest like an African team has reached. So I really hope, if not Canada, one of the African
Mm.
teams makes it, or just the
Who do you
underdog
think is
story.
actually gonna win the FIFA World Cup this year?
I mean, there is like France is good. England's looking good. France is always like a top contender, and I haven't really followed as much. Like I said, I watch the American football. I
Mhm.
don't watch football, except for Manchester United. So a lot of my friends who I'm in group chats with, they're like really hardcore, and they know a lot more than I do right
Mm.
now about it.
Who do you think is gonna be the winner?
Uh,
Joe thinks it's gonna be Spain, and so does my Scandinavian
Spain and
friend.
France, yeah, they're good. I think those are top contenders, but I don't want to put that energy out there. You know what I mean?
You don't wanna add to the
Yeah,
pool.
yeah.
You're channeling it to
It's
one
like,
of the
yeah,
other
go
countries.
Canada, go
Yeah,
England. England's decent,
yeah.
right? They have a good team. Canada could be a surprise contender.
My friend, my Swedish friend, he said, be on the lookout for Senegal.
So that's the
Your
Africa.
thought
So
about the
they
African
won.
Cup.
So they won the freaking Africa Cup,
Yeah,
and all
yes.
this controversy with Morocco. I do not want Morocco to win anything. Sorry, my Moroccan friends.
So
I have a lot of Moroccan friends.
I met a guy when we were heading down to the Canada-Tunisia game, and he's from Nigeria. And Joe had mentioned the African Cup controversy, but we didn't get into the topic because I don't follow football like that. And so I was talking to the Nigerian friend I met at the game, saying, "Yeah, this is the first time this has ever happened." I said, "Why did they like? If they walked off the field at that point, why did they just call the game? Like,
Yeah,
why
it
wait for
makes
them
no
to come
sense.
back on the?"
So this is why I'm sorry, my Moroccan friends. I have a lot of Moroccan friends.
So give me your insight on
So
like what
like
happened.
the pre this game, Tanzania, first time doing really well in the Africa Cup of Nations. We're facing them to get into the playoffs. Like if we beat them, we're in the playoffs, Tanzania. And like in the dying minutes, like a Moroccan player literally shoves a Tanzanian player off, and it's a penalty shot, ignored. And like I'm hearing a lot of these controversial calls because it was hosted in Morocco, and all these controversial calls are happening. And then in the final, so that's like even I messaged my Moroccan friends and their message, yup, you're right. Like that should have been a penalty for Tanzania. There's no way like we don't know. They like, they accepted. And anyway, Morocco goes through. They're in the finals versus Senegal. And there's just all these like really, really bad calls that are like for Morocco. Like it's all like you feel like officials have been paid off or something. It's just all these calls. And regardless of all these negative calls, Senegal is like, you know what, screw this. Like let them have it. Like it's just not fair.
Yes.
They walk out and then finally they come back in and then they get to play more controversial calls from Morocco. Like just the referees trying to make them win. Regardless of all this, Senegal final win. I love Sadio Mane. He's like amazing player, really strong. He was with Mo Salah in Liverpool
Mhm.
for the when Liverpool did great. It was Sadio Mane and Mo Salah were like the best players on that team. Anyway, they win, and then you hear this thing 3 months later, 2 months later. Oh, they did a review, and because they walked
3
off,
months later, I
or
thought
a
it
month
actually
later,
happened
no,
right
no,
there, no.
no. So they won. They lifted the Senegal lifted the trophy, whatever it's all done. They're the champions, and then 2 or 3 months, like recently, a couple of months, that last one, this article comes out. Oh, their ruling is because they walked out, Morocco gets
No
the
press is
title.
bad press for
Yeah.
Morocco because they're gonna be the next hosting country.
No, so the next hosting country, like I'm so excited in 2020
Spain, Portugal, and Morocco.
for the World Cup.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. But I'm talking about Africa Cup of Nations. It's
Mm.
huge. It's Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda.
Oh,
It's never happened
so
before.
that's what I was asking because um my friend who's Swedish, he currently is consulting for FIFA.
Okay.
And I asked him, I said, why has it evolved from Qatar when so he's explaining the difference between previous World Cup where it was always host country. But because Qatar is so small, they adopted the Olympic model, which is host city.
Yeah.
So the venues were built in the city, and then you shift to the triad countries. I said, why are we going from one country to like three countries? He's like, because there's more teams, there are more interests, so they need to
Uh, th-
encompass a larger
there's
range.
32 teams and now they've gone to 48 teams
Yeah,
this
and
year.
he says it's gonna get bigger, and that's why they're adopting Morocco, Spain,
Oh, I had
and
no idea
Portugal.
that the next one's in Morocco, Spain.
But even what you were saying too, like you said, the African Cup was always Was it similar to
One,
FIFA, 1 country,
yeah,
and now
yeah,
it's
yeah.
going to, like, 3 countries?
Yeah, it's gonna be so this year was Morocco was the host, so now in 27 it's gonna be Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, which is really exciting, and I hope I get to
Mm,
go back home
yeah.
to experience that back
But the
there.
African Cup, like, how many countries generally participate?
A big number is like 51 countries. Not all 51 are in there. Like they qualify the
Mhm,
top teams. Um, but it's just sad because like Africa has a lot of countries, and then in the World Cup it was always only 5 out of the 32, and this year it's 10 out of the 48, which is much better.
so how so help me and the audience understand who we're not very football literate or even World Cup literate, like, how do you go from, your countries to qualifying? How does the qualifying work, and how do you make it
If
to
you ask me this like 5 or 6 years ago, I'd know every single fact, but I have to brush on my facts. But it's like there's like the European, the North America, like the Americas, Africa, the Asias. They have their own qualifications, and I think Europe has the most seats
Mhm,
because it's like the elite teams. Like
mhm,
there's rankings,
mhm.
and so like there's the European Cup, but then there's qualifiers. So when it was the 32 format, you would see
What's 32 format?
32 teams in the World
Yeah,
Cup, and this year it's 48, I think. So before like last World Cup in
Qatar, yeah.
Qatar was 32, and it's like majority were from like Europe, then there's like select from Americas, only 5 from Africa,
Mm,
and there's all these World Cup qualifiers within each region, and then they get chosen to the team. And I think like a winner of like the Africa Cup of Nations just gets an auto seat, and a winner of like the Euro Cup will get an auto seat. I'm not sure. I think actually no, it's not. There's it's just qualifiers and ranking points based. And this year there's a lot more teams,
mhm,
and pretty much you have to qualify to get into the tournament. And like
mhm,
the Europe gets the largest number of seats in
mhm.
the World Cup. Um, I hope that changes, but I don't think so. And yeah, so it's like the Asias, Europe, Americas, and Africa, and then that's how they select
But
it.
before that, even, like, in Tanzania, like, your family and the community gravitate towards, um, English football, and then did you watch a lot of the Tanzanian or even African
I
Cup?
personally didn't. Africa Cup was huge. We'd watch Africa Cup of Nations because it's like a big tournament, and the World Cup was huge. There was a lot of Brazil fans for some reason. I think Brazil was one of the best teams back in the
Yes,
day.
yeah.
Few friends, but majority like, from my memory is Brazil and England. A lot of like my parents and their friends and the adults, they all watch like the local league.
Mhm.
They growing up they would watch that. I didn't personally watch that as much. I would just watch the Premier League. Like
But
uh,
then the African Cup, like you said, because it was just part of the culture that it was so big, secondary to the World Cup, and
that was every 3 years, right? Like Africa Cup and World Cup's every 4 years. Africa Cup is either every 3 or 4 years. So when those tournaments happen, everyone gravitates and watches those because it's
Mhm,
over 2 months, like a tournament tight knit. Whereas the Premier League is throughout the year,
mm.
English League, and even the Tanzanian Football League is throughout the year. And my parents and their friends and a lot of people watch it. Personally, I didn't watch the local league, but like I went to a couple of games and the stadiums are like crazy. I went like we went to Brazil in 2014 and we watched a local game there, and it's just the atmosphere like in the Tanzanian stadium or the Brazil stadium is insane.
Yeah.
It's lively. Like the stadium like in London when we went to watch Chelsea versus United was crazy, still pretty crazy, and but not as wild as I've seen it in like Brazil or Argentina or in
So
Tanzania.
contrast that those experience in terms of like Brazilian fans versus English fan versus like watching it when they were doing travelings in the States or even in Canada. Like help help the audience and me understand like your experience because each country has their own like obsession and fabric of like culture, what they breathe and eat. Like
So
football,
like
soccer, right?
in Brazil, I just remember just like everyone's singing nonstop, everyone's jumping, the stadium shaking, and you're just part of this like wild culture, and
Mm,
you're feeling it. And then in England, because we were watching a Chelsea game, and you're still lively and loud and great, but then I hear stories from my friends who've lived in London and gone to games, and it's like huge. Like before the game, everyone's like filling up pubs and singing, and like it's really lively. I didn't get to experience that piece of it, but you hear a lot of that. And then in Tanzania, there's like literally like in Mwanza, my city, it's like an older stadium, but it can sit up to 100,000. It's called CCM Kirumba, and you just go there and there's no seats. It's just concrete like steps almost
Mm,
around the
yeah.
stadium, and it's just like loud and like the in a local league game, and it's just so loud and everyone's cheering and rumbling. But then when I came to watch the games here for when Manchester United came for their tours, it's still exciting and you're excited to see the players, but that singing and that real energy is not the same. It's not the same
Yeah.
when they come for their families. Was not. It's still exciting and fun to watch, but that wild energy, like you can feel like that real eagerness and like just passion. That
I got
wasn't
a
the
sense
same.
of the Tunisia Canada game because I would say a quarter of the fans were rooting for Canada,
Yeah.
but it was three-quarter Tunisia. Like you saw like the Tunisia flag, like and
So I was there actually in the parking lot because we had our event, the Ismaili event,
yeah.
and we were like wrapping up our event, and it was that huge storm,
Yeah.
and I could hear the stands, and
I thought they
it
were
was
gonna like
crazy.
cancel the game because they were like,
Thunder, yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
Joe's like the pitch is flooded, right? And
yeah.
so we were like, so we're just waiting for the rain to kind of let up, and then
Tunisia lost 1-0, right, or something?
no, it was a tie,
Tie
zero
one zero
zero.
zero.
Yeah,
Okay, so I think the day before there was a game too, and there was also like I could hear it.
Iceland and Canada was
Iceland,
it was
Canada,
2-2.
2-2. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so and even like the guy to my right, he's for Tunisia, but I think the crowd we were in was all Canada. And he was so passionate and he's just speaking in Arabic. He's like, ah, and then he would get really passionate. He would just run down the bleacher like the closest kid, start going like this. And the security guard's like, sir, can you go back to your seat? But you could tell the difference between the Tunisian fan versus the Canadian fans. It's I figured because I've been to the TFC games, like, but even Joe described he's like what we witness in the like the fan section is nothing compared to when you go to a UK game because that's the
And
entirety
try
of
like
what you
the
experience.
TFC ultras are like
Yeah.
loud, but that's the whole stadium's
Yes.
like yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
he was saying that. So I was
Yeah,
just like, but then when I watched the Tunisia game, I'm like, I think if this was a packed stadium, this is what it would feel like, right?
yeah.
Like they're just like all. It's such a different atmosphere.
One thing I'm really sad about is just the affordability. Like FIFA needs to be
So
like
let's go into that. Let's go. What are your thoughts on FIFA?
corrupt. It's like really sad. Like football is like it should be for the fans and like people love the sport, but you're just making like profiting out of it and just charging exuberant prices. Like the most expensive game in the Qatar World Cup, like for the final, like the base FIFA game was $1,500 for the World Cup final in
Mm.
Qatar. Like the selling price here for the final, like not like the black market prices, official price for tickets is like 10,000, which makes no sense.
Yes.
It's like the people that really want to watch, like no one can afford that, and
Yeah.
it's really really sad that they're just corporate money hungry. You have billions of dollars, and like come on, it is just that just kind of pushes you away from the sport. Like we're still gonna have a great time watching them in the fan zone and welcoming people of different cultures. We're gonna get a lot. Toronto's like a hub, right? So we're gonna get a lot of people and watching fan zone. But I think it would be nice for n- normal people, regular people, to be able to go and experience this game.
So that it sounds like one of the question, which is, what are your hopes and change or vision for the direction or the future of football or even FIFA in general? And it sounds like you said like make it more affordable
Make it
to the
more
fan.
affordable for sure. It just hurts. Like I love this sport so much, and the governing body that organizes is personally I think so corrupt that like how can you charge this much? Like who can
But
afford?
is it just FIFA? Because is the African World Cup or even like the Euro Cup, is the principle still the same, like in terms of like affordability from your experience?
I think so. Like I know like this the CAF in Africa and then the UEFA in Europe, and I'm not. I think they report into FIFA or they're their own governing body. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to check that.
But even when you're watching like games, like just the local games, whether it's in Tanzania, did you ever catch a game in Kenya?
Yeah, went to a couple of games in
But
Kenya.
affordability wise, right?
Yeah, you can afford like it was not like $20, $10 like for like the bleacher seats.
But what's the going rate for the African Final Cup?
I don't know. I don't know. I think, but like it makes sense. Like even when I went to Europe, like London, that the Chelsea game, we got it for free to my friend, but like I think my brother trying to go watch a Liverpool game and he paid like $200 or £200, which is still a lot of money, $400 for a game, but that's like last minute black market prices.
Mm.
But like the standard ticket prices, £100, or even here if they were $100 or 150, yeah, it's expensive, but it's something someone can save up for going for the
Yes, it's
concert.
within range.
2,000, seven
Yes.
thousand, it's not
Yes.
within range of
Yeah.
anybody. Like, come on, like it's a joke.